What's up, guys? Late night cast Mac here. I haven't done a lot of Carolina Panthers videos because I haven't had a lot to do them about positive wise. And I thought I would just be either crying in the phone or yelling in the phone just for frustration in the last two games, even though we lost the instant classic to Green Bay thanks to the refs and some poor defense and a lot of things, missed extra points and all of that. But the last 2 weeks show why we took Bryce Young 1 overall. The throws, the poise, the decision making he made on Sunday and the last drive against Atlanta were just second to none, and it shows exactly what we thought we were getting from the beginning, even with the lack of continuity and weapons, so to speak, around him, especially the offensive line. They've even stepped up big time in the last 2 weeks, only giving up, I think, 5 sacks in 2 weeks, which is a marked improvement from early on. But Bryce Young was super decisive and in his decision making after the first couple of rough drives to begin the game against the Packers. And we haven't turned the ball over in the last 2 weeks, and that made more impressive in the monsoon against Atlanta. So there's a lot of positives to garner from the last 2 weeks. I know moral victories don't give you much in sports, but in this case where it's already a lost season, the glimmers of hope in the garbage that we've seen throughout this year is something to hang your hat on. Some of those throws he made to Chark and Thielen at the end of the game, were pinpoint, and he just was in control. And I love the fact, I know it's been a terrible season, but I love the fact that the locker room, at least the players, seem like they're together. Seeing the right things are coming out of Bryce Young, Adam Thielen, DJ Chark, Chuba Hubbard. The right thing, everybody's saying the right thing, trying to stick together and let things happen. And I think that says something for as dysfunctional and ugly as the season has been. It doesn't seem, none of the locker room stuff has been aired out publicly, and that is a testament to a lot of the character we have in that room, and I appreciate that. And just, I wanted to come on here and give you my top 5 most positive things that we've seen, things and players we've seen this season, in no particular order, but Chuba Hubbard has been very consistent. I think since the beginning of the season, Chuba Hubbard ranked in the top 12 in running backs. Just been very reliable both in the running game and passing game, and just and has gotten rid of his fumble issues to start the career that he's had. I think he's just been very reliable in every aspect. Also, pass protection, really good blocking, things of that nature. And I'm really glad that Chuba Hubbard's taken that next step. And I hope he's in a Panther uniform for a long time, because I've always been a fan of his. And for him to be able to put it together like this is really awesome to see. Frankie Louvu, he's been the most consistent game wrecker on our defense. He does absolutely everything. Stopping the run is one of his specialties. He stuck A.J. Dillon on Sunday. He's just been all over the place. The announcer says his name so much, you might as well just have it on repeat. He's a great leader. He's a hybrid player, can do a lot of things for you. But again, I think he's been our staple on our defense. Excuse me, with all the injuries, inconsistencies, and everything, Frankie Louvu has been in the middle of that. Speaking in the middle, Derek Brown, hog molly, just clogging up the run lanes, getting his big paws up for an interception. 73 total tackles coming in Sunday, 44 so low, and that big interception. He's like Frankie Louvu, just put his name on repeat for the announcer, because he's always in the stat sheet, and a lot of his numbers don't show up in the stat sheet. It helps other people on other levels of the defense make plays. Derek Brown, definitely our Pro Bowler, and I really appreciate that. Some Amir Smith-Marset, I want him back. He's been a dynamic returner, special teams guy, and now has kind of assumed the Laviska Shenault role, as Laviska has been out with an ankle injury, and has just been, we finally starting to use motion more in our offense since Frank Reich left or was fired, and just some more creativity, and Amir Smith-Marset just kind of seems to inject a different type of energy, a different type of confidence into the offense, and you never know what's going to happen when he's in there, and he's been a solid blocker as well. He brings a lot to the table. Also could mention Raheem Blackshear as well. Him in the return game, he got the 2-point conversion to tie it on Sunday. Just been a different change of speed back and change of pace back. We haven't used him as much as I would have hoped, especially when we used him a couple of games in the return game, and it would seem effective, and then for some reason he was healthy and active, but for one game, and then he's been up since Chris Tabor took over. I just love the unsung hero guys, kind of the glue guys of an offense and of a team that other teams wouldn't necessarily think of, but Amir Smith-Marset and Raheem Blackshear have come staples to what the Panthers have done this season, and especially Sunday, scoring our first 30-point game in 8 games or so. I don't remember the last time we did, honestly, and that's bad. But it just feels like things are starting to click a little bit. Hopefully we can play spoiler for the Jags and the Bucks the last game. But I think the last 2 games. But I think there's pieces to be sure. And I hope Amir Smith-Marset is back. I hope Raheem Blackshear is back. And Tommy Trimble, give him a shout out. It seemed to me early on that Bryce Young and Tommy Trimble had a nice connection. Even when the games were blowouts and things of that nature, there was still that connection between them. And Tommy had a really nice game Sunday. Couple of large run after catch gains, and tight ends always open down the middle plays. And I think that connection and that continuity and chemistry is nice to see, because it could be the new Cam Newton, Greg Olsen connection, or at least one of them, because that feels really good. And obviously Adam Thielen has been virtually our only offensive weapon, especially with Frank Reich at the helm. But since Chris Tabor's taken over, it's kind of spread the wealth, which is nice. And I think there's a little bit more continuity with the coaching staff and things of that nature. But Adam Thielen has been there all season long as that veteran, as that security blanket, the Jericho Cotchery type, and I hope he sticks around. I know we signed him for 2 more years, but you know the business of football, anything can happen, and with our cap space being the way it is, I don't know, but whoever we bring in as the next head coach does have a good stable of pieces to use on both sides of the ball, and it's nice to see positive things happening, because for 10 weeks there was not a lot of positives, but I think we're finally starting to see it, finally starting to see Bryce Young's confidence grow, Bryce Young's confidence in what he sees in front of him. The offensive line's been better, thus Bryce Young can work his magic a little bit better, and the weapons are starting to show. Are they the best? No, and we definitely need to fix a lot of things, but seeing positives this late in the year is something that I didn't think I was going to be able to say, and now that we have, it's something to build on. And I appreciate Bryce Young's humility and accountability through the tough times, and he's going to be a great leader and a great quarterback for a long time. If the last 2 weeks are any indication, just need to get him some really good playmakers to go along with what we have in place and what we've learned in these last few weeks with Chris Tabor at the helm. And yeah, the defense had a rough game on Sunday, but they've held their own for the most part, and a clunker was bound to happen at some point. I hope that Brian Burns, if he is in a Panther uniform next season, it's been reported that he was going to get a tag, but I don't know how that's going to work out, especially because we don't know front office and head coach, obviously. But Brian Burns is a cornerstone, and I hope that he can just hit the reset button after this year and just come back better than ever, even though he's really good. It's just the stats haven't necessarily shown up. They didn't show up in the Green Bay game. He might still be hurt, and he might still be fighting through a lot of things, and this season has been ultra frustrating for him, so I don't blame him at all. It's just going to be interesting to see how that situation plays out, but I think he's still a cornerstone, and J.C. Horn has been phenomenal since he's come back. So again, that's another cornerstone piece you can use. So there's a lot of positives that have come from these last few weeks, and I can't wait to see how it builds. And I honestly didn't think I was gonna do a positive video about the Carolina Panthers, but here we are, so that's a good thing. And there's always light in a storm, and that's what I'm gonna call the Carolina Panthers this season. And I'm just really excited at the prospects once we figure out the coach, figure out the GM, and just have sort of a clean slate, because Bryce Young has shown a lot. He's shown that he's been the truth all season long with his attitude and what he's saying, and now the play on the field is backing that up. So it's a nice trend to end a terrible season. But as always, keep pounding. Go Panthers.